Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I decided to just jump in live. This was an amazing workshop that I've been sharing for quite a while and decided to just jump in. Hopefully, you are just wrapping up your day from work and you're able to either tune in your YouTube while you're driving. Maybe you can actually just watch it right after while you're prepping your dinner or something like that. But I wanted to talk to you about prediabetes and the first steps. And here are three simple steps that you can take right now if you have just been diagnosed with prediabetes, if you are completely overwhelmed, you don't know where to start. These are your very simple three steps that you can embrace and start working on that right now that will start creating change and will help you balance your blood sugar. So, whether you're watching live or you're watching later, just make sure that you turn all distractions, close some tabs, hit the do not disturb. Pay attention to everything that I'm presenting because they're valuable insights and I want you to be present. So try to eliminate distractions as much as possible. Now, if you don't know me as much, I am your coach, Jenny Pena, and I was able to reverse my prediabetes. And I'm sure you can hear that helicopter, but and I have managed PCOS through lifestyle changes. Now I'm helping busy men and women do exactly the same thing. I was able to do that by implementing lifestyle shifts and habits, and I have been able to coach over 200 clients, not just to lower their A1C, but also prevent diabetes, lose some weight, and reclaim their energy. And I have a podcast that started earlier this year, and it's called The Path to Better A1C. And the actual audio, it's streamed right here on YouTube. So you can pick either Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other platform, but you can also watch it right here. Now, my mission for the next, I'm going to say 45 minutes, but it could be less than that, is that you will get these three things, that you will understand what prediabetes is, what those lab numbers mean, why early detection matters so much, and I'm going to explain the 111 method to lower your A1C without calorie counting. Because who wants to do that? Now, here's the agenda. I'm going to go over labs. I'm going to go over why detection matters. I'm going to go over the 111 method, which incorporates one meal, one movement, one pause. It's as simple as that. And I am going to cover a few frequently asked questions and common myths. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my signature coaching program, the A1C Reset Protocol. Now, let's start with a simple look at what's happening inside your body when your blood sugar levels rise. So, your body turns food into fuel doing this. Every time you eat carbs, think bread, pasta, fruit, your body turns them into glucose. And that is your main source of fuel. And in response to that, your pancreas is going to start producing and sending out insulin. And it's acting as that key that lets your glucose into your cells. Now, once inside, your body uses that glucose for energy or tucks it away for later. So that's when, kind of like having a little bit of portion control helps, especially if you're worried about weight management. Now, as a result, your blood sugar will naturally settle back down to a steady range, which should be between 70 to 99. That should be the steady range that you should have. It is perfectly normal to go up when you're eating, but I will talk to you a little bit about what happens when you actually have prediabetes. Now, in the scenario that you have prediabetes, your blood sugar stays higher than normal. So do you see that bouncing effect of going up a little bit and then going back down? It tends to stay higher for a bit longer than normal. And it is considered not to be diabetes yet, but it is a signal that your body's is having just a bit of difficulty keeping balance. Now, insulin, think about it as that key that helps move the sugar into your cells and not stay in your bloodstream. Now, when you're pre-diabetic, it still works. It's just not as smoothly. It's not as efficient as it was before. So the sugar ends up hanging around in your bloodstream a bit longer than desired. It's leaving you tired, it leaves you craving sweets, and it also can put extra strain on your system. Now, when you hear prediabetes, I want you to think that this is your early wake up call. It's a chance for you to just take action before things progress into type 2 diabetes. Now, what is the blood sugar roller coaster? And this is something that I talk to my clients quite a lot. It's that spike and plunge, right? Eating refined carbs that cause a rapid glucose spike, and then it creates that drop. So when that happens, it causes you to crash. So you crash in energy and then you crave. So that drops leaves you tired, foggy, and guess what you're going to be craving? You're going to be craving lots of sugar. And the cycle repeats. More carbs, more spikes, more crashes, and then more insulin stress starts developing. So over time, this cycle makes it very hard for your body to keep your blood sugar steady. It goes on overdrive. Now, how do doctors, now that you understand a little bit of like, okay, like this is what typically should be happening in my body, this is what is probably happening in my body, here is what the doctors do to evaluate. Now, the A1C is, and this is something that a lot of people get confused, A1C is not the same as glucose. A1C is your report card. It's showing you the average blood sugar balance over the past 2-3 months. Normal should be below 5.7. When you're hitting between 5.7 to 6.7, 6.6, it's already at the prediabetes range. And then if it goes above that, and then it's considered diabetes. Now, fasting glucose is a snapshot at that point in time. Doctors typically will test this after fasting for at least 8 hours, and normal results are typically below 100. You do want to be below 100 when you're fasting. So when you wake up in the morning, it should be below 100. And that is the glucose at that specific level. Now, when you think about prediabetes range, is when your fasting glucose is between 100 to 125. Now, there's the oral glucose tolerance test, and this is something that most of the ladies, if you have been pregnant, you're probably aware of this, is sort of a movie reel. Think about it like that, of how your body handles sugar in a period of 2 hours. And normal results should be less than 140. And then if it goes above 140 to 199, that is actually considered that prediabetes range. Now, why early detection matters? And this is something that I talk constantly. Why? Because 80% of people with prediabetes have no clue they have it. 1 in 3 Americans have prediabetes, and 80% of those have no clue. So without changes, if they don't do absolutely anything, practically about 30% will develop type 2 diabetes within 5 years. So that's why I keep saying inaction has a cost, and prediabetes is not just going to go away. Even a slightly elevated blood sugar can actually damage your blood vessels over time. And the good news is lifestyle changes, like watching your dietary routine, including exercise, managing sleep and stress, it can actually cut your diabetes risk by 58% and 71% for adults over 60. So that means that at this point, when you hear prediabetes, it's your sign to make changes. So simple shifts like adding more protein at breakfast, incorporating a 10-minute walk, or even improving your sleep make a huge difference. So again, prediabetes is not guaranteed that you're going to have diabetes, but it's your chance to change course now. Now, what are some possible signs of prediabetes? Things that people sometimes experience and have: afternoon crashes, brain fog, carb cravings that feel very hard to resist, feeling extremely tired after meals, and noticing that maybe your labs are normal, but you're seeing a trend upward. If you're noticing these things, that may be your body already showing some signs of insulin resistance. It's not for you to panic, but it's something for you to think about, right? These everyday struggles aren't just random. They're just those very early signs that your blood sugar it's not staying steady as it should. And this is how prediabetes usually shows up in real life. Now, red flags, right? Things that are okay. I definitely need to sit down and talk to my doctor and think about these things. Fatigue, frequent energy crashes, especially mid afternoon, carb cravings, feeling hangry between meals, that extra weight that is starting to gather around your belly, that A1C that is going to be in that range of 5.7 to 6.4 and that fasting glucose that maybe is already between 100 and 125, and also having a family history of type 2 diabetes or gestational diabetes. These are common red flags. If you have not probably paid attention or put them all together, this is something that you need to pay notice to. It doesn't mean diabetes is inevitable, but it means it is absolutely time for you to take action. Now, what is the best place to start to lower your A1C and reverse prediabetes? And a lot of people ask me that. Where do I start? And this is why I actually created this presentation and I run these workshops. Here, I created this 111 method. When everybody's like, I am not sure where to start, there is so much going on, I'm clueless, I tell them, okay, let's start with this. This is the first 3 clear mini steps that you can start doing right now that will help you lower your A1C and steady your blood sugar and get your energy. Now let's go through them. My 111 method, it's being, especially for being newly diagnosed, it feels overwhelming, but you don't need to change everything at once. That actually will give you a lot of stress and most times not sustainable. So start with 3 simple daily habits, things that you can stick with. 1 balanced meal. I want you to pick 1 meal and make sure that it's balanced. You start there, then you slowly build up. But start with 1 meal. And if you ask me which one I prefer, I would say breakfast because it sets the tone for the rest of your day. But make sure that it has, and this is what a balanced meal means, that it has the PFF combo. What is that? Protein, fiber, and fat. Healthy fat. We're going to go through it a little bit in detail. Now, another thing is to incorporate a movement break. No, you don't have to go to the gym 2 hours every single day. It doesn't have to be a high intensity workout. Just 1 movement break, preferably after lunch or after dinner. Take a 10-minute walk. If you cannot go outside, march in place. Get your favorite playlist and start dancing, right? Until you break a little bit of a sweat. But incorporate that movement break, and it is amazing the benefits to your blood sugar that it does when you do it after your meal. Now, 1 breathing pause. This is the one that a lot of people are kind of wondering, okay, like, does this even make any change, any impact on my blood sugar? And my answer is yes. It reduces your stress and it improves your sleep. So start incorporating these small, simple steps, and they will build momentum and consistency, and you will start seeing changes. Now, let's go a little bit deeper into step 1. Now, 1 balanced meal. Use that PFF formula. What is that? Protein, fiber, fat. And 1 simple way that you can start incorporating that is like, okay, like I'm eating this refined carb, bread, maybe it's a bagel, maybe it's a donut, something like that. Swap it for a vegetable or a whole grain option. So if you're eating a butter roll, maybe swap it for something that has fiber, maybe something whole wheat. Look at how you can add a little bit of fiber in there. And if you don't incorporate protein, like I used to have coffee and a butter roll from New York, and that was my breakfast. No protein whatsoever, no fiber either. Now, You can add some eggs. You can add some fruit on the side. You can add some vegetables on the side. Again, like there are different things that you can incorporate. If you're having the oatmeal, you can absolutely add some slivered almonds in there. You can add some fruit for fiber. And these are the things that you could do. You can also get 1 or 2 boiled eggs on the side to up that protein content so that it's balanced. But I will say, don't try to overhaul the entire thing. Start with one meal a day and build from there. Because even the small swaps will steady that blood sugar and reduce your cravings. Now, the step 2 that I mentioned, one movement break. Again, take a simple 10-minute walk after dinner or any meal, to be quite honest. And even short burst of movement, like marching in place, stretching, helping lower blood sugar right away. Those are great options. And obviously, you have to think about the long term. When it comes to meals, you want to balance every single meal, including the snacks. You want to make sure it has those 3 components, but just start with one. And then it's the same thing with the movement break. You want to start with like those 10 minutes. Ideally, you want to start moving up to go to 150 minutes of moderate movement and having at least 2 days of some strength training. Those are the CDC guidelines. And it doesn't necessarily mean you need to go to the gym. You can do a lot of other activities, and all of those actually count. As long as they get your blood pumping and your heart rate up, you'll be fine. Now, the third component of my 111 method, the one breathing pause. I know a lot of people are like, it's all about nutrition or exercise. But a lot of my clients at the beginning, when they start working with me, they sort of neglect the sleep and the stress component and how it actually impacts your blood sugar. So stress raises your blood sugar even without food. Now try that 5-minute breathing pause during the day. And if you don't have 5 minutes, start with one. Maybe go to bed a little bit earlier and try to relax, try to find ways of applying mindfulness, because these small moments of calm they're telling your body you're safe. You don't need to stay on overdrive. You don't need to stay in that fight or flight mode. And believe it or not, when you are stressed out, cortisol levels go up, and also does your blood sugar. Now, in summary, as a recap, the 111 method: one balanced meal, make sure it has protein, fiber, and healthy fat. One movement break, make sure at least you start with 5 or 10 minutes, and one breathing pause. Again, you can start even with 1 minute if that is all you have. Start with one and build it up. Now, pick one change. I know that I gave you 3 options. Pick one change that you will start today. Maybe you're going to start with your meal. Maybe you're going to add a movement break. Maybe you're going to add a breathing pause. Start today, build it up for a few days, and then add something else. And that's how you make it sustainable. You start small, simple steps, and you make it sustainable. Now, let's take a closer look at your plate, because I know a lot of people think about nutrition, and it's something very important. Is your plate balanced? And this is like one thing that you can actually incorporate, write it down, take a snapshot, look at your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner, and assess. Did it have protein? Did it have some fiber? Did it have a smart carb or a complex carb, right? Like with fiber, something that is not necessarily treated or processed. Did it have the healthy fat? Check what it was on your plate, and this may actually show you which is the meal that maybe you need to start focusing and making it balanced. Now, here are a few common myths. Sugar alone causes diabetes, and that's not true. There are many factors. Sugar is just one component. Another one that a lot of people think, thin people can have prediabetes, and that is not true. I was actually not obese or overweight when I was diagnosed with prediabetes. So genetics, lifestyle, they all play a role. Medication is the only solution. Absolutely not. Now, I'm not saying for you to stop medication or anything like that. Please talk to your doctor about it. like I did. I was put on medication and I was very firm as to I want to see if any lifestyle changes can actually make me not have to take this medication anymore. And it was monitored by my doctor. And you can do the same and see what happens. But lifestyle changes are often very effective. So don't think that just because you have prediabetes or diabetes, that it's like, oh, medication is going to be the only solution for me, because it isn't. So don't let these myths stop you. Small, consistent lifestyle habits are powerful. Now, some questions that people ask me: can prediabetes be reversed? And I would say yes, for the most part, with lifestyle changes. And CDC has tons of information, tons of data, and it will actually say that about 58% of people with lifestyle changes, they're able to either reverse or fully prevent diabetes. And that is amazing. So I think like if over 50% chance, why not? Another question that a lot of people ask me is fruit okay? Yes. Whole fruits with fiber are encouraged. And the other thing that people ask me is like, do I need snacks? And I know I talk a lot about snacking and cravings and all of that. Not always, right? Like the goal is to have three balanced meals. Now, depending on the spacing between, let's say, your lunch and your dinner, or your breakfast and your lunch, you may or may need to do that snack so that you can keep those blood sugar levels stable. So it may not always be needed, but if you do, you can pair them with protein and fat. Now, prediabetes is manageable and for many people, actually reversible. So again, lifestyle changes have an impact. Now, in order to think about breaking free from prediabetes and stepping into this confidence, imagine the difference, right? Of having steady crash proof energy from morning to night. You're not having all these blood sugar imbalances. You have confidence in your meal. You know exactly what to do with no extremes, no guesswork. Your labs are trending into the right direction. You're having more focus. You don't have to worry so much about, am I going to develop diabetes? This is possible. And it's not by changing everything overnight, but by starting with the small, steady shifts that you have learned today. Now, I know you have learned the first steps to steady your blood sugar. However, deep transformation takes clarity, takes guidance, takes consistency, and takes time. And that's why I created the A1C Reset Protocol. It's my signature program, a 12-week one-on-one private coaching program to help you lower your A1C, improve your labs, build lasting habits without extreme diets, and finally feel in control again of your energy, of your weight, and of your health. Now, how can you even accomplish this? So every 4 weeks, we focus on something. So first 4 weeks is about clarity, pinpointing the exact habits that lower the A1C, dodge common pitfalls, tailor each tweak to your lifestyle because everybody is different, right? It's not the same if you travel for work as to if you're working from home or you're a stay-home mom or maybe you're a business owner. Our lives are different. And we need to get that clarity in terms of the strategy to get the A1C levels to normal level. Now, then there is the guidance, it's the step-by-step coaching, it's the feedback, it's the accountability. So you're not left guessing. So you know exactly what you need to do and how to troubleshoot. And then seeing sustainable change. Because A1C levels actually take a bit to show in the lab as decreasing. It takes about 12 weeks for the cells to renew. So in 12 weeks, you're going to be able to master a repeatable system that fuels steady energy, lowers those lab numbers, and builds that unshakable confidence that you are going to feel as you go on social events, as you travel, as you go to a restaurant. You're going to be able to know exactly how to manage everything and not create that blood sugar imbalance. Here's some amazing testimonials for people that I worked with. Nancy, she was like my diet guru. She tried every single diet out there, every single extreme diet, she tried it, and nothing worked sustainably. So initially, she was very hesitant, didn't really want to make a lot of these changes because she felt it was like an all or nothing. And yet, She listened, she followed, and she ended up losing over 20 pounds and lowering her A1C, and she continues to stay motivated. Richard needed that support and that encouragement and needed clarity. He was the one that felt that, okay, like I think I'm doing everything right. I think I'm doing everything. However, I'm not seeing weight loss. I'm not seeing stable blood sugar levels. What is really happening? So those were the things that he was needing, and we tailored the program for him. Helen had an amazing lifestyle. She was active, exercising. She already had a good idea of how to balance her meals, but it was not as high on protein. There were some deficiencies, opportunities in terms of hydration, and we were able to incorporate a lot of different things and help her as she was using GLP-1 medications. So by the end that we concluded, her A1C levels were normal. She was doing amazing. So these are just 3 testimonials of the many that I could change with you. Now, what are your clear steps? If you're asking me, okay, Jenny, what do I need to do? You don't have to figure this out on your own. Book a free clarity call. No strings attached. You have no obligation to sign up. This is just an honest conversation about what is your next steps, what are your goals, what are your symptoms, what are the biggest roadblocks, and to really assess, is this for you or not? Because I will be the first one to tell you, well, I don't think you are a candidate for my program. We'll look at, okay, how prediabetes may be stalling your energy and your focus and your A1C progress, and finding that realistic action plan that fits your life. So here's the QR code, and I will put all of the information in the description so that you can book that 20-minute free clarity call. And again, I opened some spots. I happen to have a few extra spots this week, but feel free to just book the call and let's talk. Let's talk. And maybe you will come up with at least one strategy that you can incorporate right there. Thank you so much for your time. I hope that all of this has given you a bit of clarity and you know exactly where to start. But if you want the extra step, the support, the additional guidance, and the tailoring, because that is important. Sometimes we know what to do, but we don't know how to incorporate it in our lives in a way that is sustainable. So book your clarity call. Feel free to comment, send me a message if you need a question. Feel free to connect with me on Instagram, is Coach Jen P. Follow me here on YouTube, where I always put lots of videos and tips. And hopefully I'll get to speak with you soon. Have an amazing rest of your week.